I'm a big dog, who you wanna? Diamonds on my wrist and on my...
Yo, what's going on? And welcome into the huddle. You are here with Connor Coyle, Hayden Lundfeld, and our lovely guest, Patrick Hemmig. Patrick, it's so great to have you here today talking about college basketball.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course, so happy to have you here. So let's get straight into it. So the Zags and the Bears have been the top two teams for the whole season, basically. So far, and by the numbers, these guys are miles above everybody else. Sadly, COVID stole our chance of seeing who is the best, really, when, the Gonzaga program was put on pause earlier in December. So since then, all we can really do is, acknowledge that both these teams are very good. And, who wants to start off on, who we think is the better team?
Well, I mean, the better team out of the two, I think it's Gonzaga. I mean, I think that Gonzaga is miles above everyone else. They have all the pieces. They have the great mix of, talented underclassmen in Jalen Suggs and Drew Timme, who's their leading scorer. And then they have a lot of experienced upperclassmen. They got Corey Kispert, Joel Ayayi, I think that's how you say it. But and then they got the transfer from Florida, Andrew Nembhard, who's playing well for them. And I mean, I think it's honestly time we consider Gonzaga a powerhouse in the NCAA. I mean, they've been so consistent over the past decade, really. And I honestly gotta take one of these two teams over any other team to win it, because they're just, like you said, Connor, they're miles above the rest of the field. And they're both undefeated for that reason.
Absolutely. And getting back to who I would take amongst the two, I'm actually going to disagree with you, Hayden. My answer is different from who I think will win it all. It's who I think is better. And for that reason, I got to take Baylor. The Bears have the highest defensive efficiency rating right now and the fourth best offensive efficiency rating. I love the Bears offense. It's like the new style of basketball that I love watching. They're only taking 32% of their shots are coming at the rim. The rest of their shots are coming from threes, where they're shooting 43%. I just love Baylor's offense. As I know, Gonzaga has an amazing offense, right? But their lack of offense, their lack of 3-point shooting, it scares me. They're only shooting 32% from three. As a team, that's not really what you want to see in the collegiate level.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Connor on this one. I really like Baylor. Just their backcourt is so lethal, with Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell. They can really just, play fast, and they D up. They're a team that can hold you under 60, but yet still put up around 90, 100 if they get hot. So they're really scary. I mean, the only reason I wouldn't put Gonzaga is just because, the conference. I know they're the real deal. They could definitely be a Final Four team if everything goes right for them. But, I just got the Big 12. That's a very respectable conference this year. Teams are playing well, They have some good wins over Texas, Oklahoma, Gonzaga hasn't played, a real team maybe since Iowa, arguably. So, gotta give it to Baylor on this one.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. I think that it's more than likely that one of these teams is going to be holding up the trophy at the end of the season, assuming that everything goes well with COVID. But, Gonzaga, we saw them play a UVA team that's a defending champs earlier, whoop them by 25, put up 95, something like that, over 90 points on Virginia's defense that is one of the best in the nation. Talk about offense. They may not shoot the three as well as, you would like to see, but they got guys who can light it up. And Jalen Suggs is going to be a lottery pick. He might go number 1 overall. He's poised, and their backcourt is similar to Baylor's, I think, in terms of experience and reliability. And really, that's what you want in the tournament. And both these teams have that. Both these teams have a good mix of experience. But Gonzaga has just dominated everyone they played, and I can't pick against them at this point.
Yeah, you gotta give them credit. it's easy to say that they're not playing good teams, but they're handling them. They're not just beating them, like they're like pounding them, like taking care of business.
Yeah, pause. But I completely agree. And I just want to move on to our next topic here and move on into the Big Ten. So things are pretty close in the Big Ten. But when I want to think about it, the team I got to go with, who's the best team in the Big Ten, I got to go with Michigan. They've missed a lot of games due to COVID, again, especially against the other top-ranked teams in the Big Ten. But they are still 13-1 and 8-1 against other Big Ten teams. I hate to be that guy that continues to talk about efficiency ratings, but they have a top 10 efficiency rating on both sides of the court. I do, for that reason, I really got to pick them over other teams in the Big Ten. But I see a point for Ohio State, especially seeing how explosive that offense is. But their defense worries me.
Yeah, they got a big game next week. I mean, Sunday they got the Buckeyes. So
Yeah.
let's see. And also, like,
go ahead.
Ohio State with how many wins, they're just like running the table right now. It's crazy. They're playing like probably the best team in the country the past couple weeks.
Yeah, they kind of came out of nowhere too. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
I know they lost a couple early in the season.
They lost,
and everyone kind of forgot about them.
Yeah, I think they have 2 losses in the Big Ten, both to Purdue. That's due to size.
Hey man,
I mean,
Purdue.
That's the one thing that Michigan might have over Ohio State is Ohio State doesn't have any size. They don't have that big man presence. They can't really block shots, So that's probably why Purdue gave them some troubles with their Trevion Williams and Edey inside. That's difficult for them to guard. But they can, similar to Baylor, got a great backcourt. They like to run.
They can light it up.
Yeah, for sure. They're also tough. So they're very composed.
Completely agree.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is you think that Purdue is the best team in the Big Ten. Is that correct? A little bit of bias in there. A little bit of bias. They beat Ohio State, But I'm gonna go. I just want to take a moment to appreciate how good and how competitive this conference is. It seems like every year. I mean, they might have 10 tournament teams this season. They would have had 10 last season too. But I gotta go with Illinois, honestly. I think Illinois is legit. I mean, Ayo Dosunmu is the best. I think he's the best player in the Big Ten right now. And then Kofi Coburn, their center, he can match up with anyone. And that's how you say it, yeah. And I mean,
hold on. Wait, hold on. Who'd you say was the best player in the Big Ten?
Ayo Dosunmu.
You gotta say Luka Garza.
Luka Garza's not in the
slow.
Big Ten?
Luka Garza's kind of slow. I was on the Luka Garza.
Okay, we're not talking about NBA. We're talking about
yeah,
right now. Who's the best player right now?
Ayo Dosunmu. He has it all.
Luka Garza is in the Big Ten.
I mean, but can I just talk about this Illinois team real quick? I mean, they got reliable guards in their starting lineup and off the bench. They got a freshman guard, Adam Miller, is a great 3-point shooter. And then they have guys who come off the bench who can shoot the 3. I mean, and I mentioned the 2 guys already. They probably have 2 of the top 7 or 8 guys in the Big Ten. And that team's poised because they got veteran guards, like I said, and I will stress this so much, but in college basketball, we've seen it throughout all of the history that having a good, reliable veteran, not even veteran, but a good poised backcourt in the tournament and a reliable bench is how you win. And Illinois has all of that. And I mean, I do got to give credit to Michigan, though. I watched their game against Wisconsin on, I believe it was Sunday. And I mean, they look legit. Hunter Dickinson, that man is a beast. That man is.
As it delivers too.
Yeah, delivers.
Real deal.
Yeah, and they have guards who pick up full court and just pressure every. They're a close second in my opinion, but Illinois is. I think they got the edge.
I mean, Illinois actually lost to Ohio State though early in the season. I think January.
Yeah, I think for some reason I just don't really believe Ohio State. I think they're a football school. I'm not gonna lie, and it's come back to get them. But
They seem good here. And that backcourt, it's no joke.
I agree.
I mean, that's all across the Big Ten. Like every team has a good backcourt, and I think
That's how you win games. And then
Illinois has the best backcourt player in the Big Ten, in Ayo Dosunmu, and he's elite. That's all I have to say. I mean, no disrespect to Luka Garza. Like I wasn't disrespecting Luka Garza, but right now, I'd rather have Ayo.
You were disrespecting him. Luka Garza, just because we brought him up, is definitely the best player in the Big Ten, but he won't. Like, I mean, in my opinion, I don't think he'll be good if he does go to the NBA. What are your thoughts on that?
I think he's gonna fall to a pretty good team. He's gonna fall to a good team, and they're gonna develop him. I hope he does.
I think he's a lot of the second round.
He's kind of like Wagner when Wagner came out of college. Mo Wagner on the Wizards.
I was thinking more like Frank Kaminsky.
I was thinking like a Frank.
Yeah, they've definitely compared Frank.
Very similar.
I hope he doesn't, do nothing in the NBA like Frank Kaminsky has done.
Well, I mean, Frank Kaminsky is like, I mean, I kind of knew, man. It's a different league.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's kind of slow. You gotta be able to guard, especially now today's era. If you have Porzingis dropping threes and Anthony Davis, it's gonna be hard to stick with them if you're that slow.
Exactly. Athleticism is everything in the NBA.
I saw Luka Garza play his junior year at Maryland, and guys like Smith and the Maryland's athletic bigs just kind of gave him a little trouble. They were able to beat him off the dribble, and so it kind of was a little sign. He saw like 15, 20 points, but he got kind of bullied in the second half.
Yeah, and that Iowa team, don't sleep on them either because they got shooters all around, all on the court. I mean, Bohannon, Wieskamp, like those guys, they can beat anyone too. Like this Big Ten is so competitive, and
if Iowa's shot's not on, they're gonna struggle.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. That's why they've been losing. But if they get hot, they'll make a run to the Elite Eight, maybe even further.
Yeah, it's stupid how hot they get though. Like if they're hitting shots, they're scary good.
Maryland has disappointed me, man.
Oh yeah, I mean
you put Maryland in the Pac-12 or put them in the out west, Maryland for sure a tournament team. It just shows how the Big Ten is. If Maryland wins, if Maryland gets to the, maybe finish 18 wins, I think the committee will put them in. Just how tough this schedule is, how strong a schedule they have.
And we've won a couple ranked games too, so.
Oh yeah, four games.
Yeah.
And just big win over Minnesota, so that helps.
Yeah, well, we are coming off a loss against Penn State, and
I mean, I just think Turgeon's got to get out of there. Really, it's been overdue.
I've been saying this.
It's been overdue.
So yeah. They just don't want to do it though. He gets too many good recruits.
No, like what happens is every time like he's doing bad, he'll redeem himself with like a big win or like a big recruit, and then they're like, oh yeah, he's not that bad, and then he loses to like, I don't know, Nebraska, something like that.
Last year they were unfortunate. That could have been Maryland's year. They looked great.
Yeah, we were at the top of the Big
Ten. I would have lost the Sweet 16, but it's whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I still have flashbacks from that LSU buzzer beater loss.
Oh yeah, the travel.
That one hurt, man.
What?
Because that was like the best game I've seen Turgeon coach like maybe ever.
Yeah, he made some great adjustments that game. It's crazy.
Good. All right, so are we ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right, let's transition into talking about how odd this year has been. Like Duke, Michigan State, and Kentucky might all miss the tournament this year. Do you guys think this is the end of their programs, or is it just a one-time thing? I got to say it's a one-time thing. I mean, we all know how amazing. How is it biased?
No, I'm just making a joke. Yeah, you're right.
We all know how great those recruiting programs are. I mean, like those guys bring in stars after stars after stars, like constantly. And, the fact that, this is all occurring during a COVID season, like you can't say that this is going to occur for the rest of college basketball. Like they're still getting top recruits no matter what. Coach K is reeling in recruits left and right. Like This is a one-time thing.
Yeah, I agree. No way Duke's this is a one-time thing, definitely for Duke at least to say. But UNC the past couple of years, like the COVID year, they weren't that great either. But I think they're gonna turn around. But Duke, yeah, I just don't see them being bad. Like, what's college basketball without Duke being a top team? And sometimes with all the freshmen they have, sometimes you need an extra year. Like they got some real players. Like Jeremy Roach, he's gonna be a real problem. But next year, he's still got a year to develop, but he's gonna be cold.
I mean, I think
So,
their guy Jalen Johnson's gonna go to the NBA after this season, but he's really tough. Like he's legit. But I kind of want to say that it is a one-time thing, but I think this is kind of marking the beginning of the end, almost like as in within the next decade, I could see all of these programs taking a severe fall, especially Kentucky, because we've seen it in the past couple of years where they're just turning into freshman only teams and it's a one and done hotspot. And I mean, that's similar to all of the places that you mentioned, like Michigan State too. And Duke is turning into a freshman hotspot, but Kentucky hasn't made the Final Four since 2015. I don't know. Calipari's not doing a great job this year. He's getting old too. But I can't Kentucky. I don't think they're gonna be a name that we think of as the top tier team for the next 5 years, because they're just gonna keep being a one and done hotspot. That's Kentucky's. That's what they're known for now. Michigan State this season is honestly just bad. I don't know how to explain that. I really think they've just had trouble filling in the void of Cassius Winston being gone, because he was so important to their team, and they haven't had a leader at the point guard position step up. And I mean, like I said, Izzo is also getting old. He's 66. But I think, they got something to look forward to, and Amani Bates coming there, at least for a year. That's going to be a bright spot. So maybe that turns the program back up. And then Duke specifically, they recruit like crazy, but you got to think this is the beginning of the end, where Coach K is starting to diminish. He couldn't win with Zion, RJ, and Cam Reddish on his team. That's just disappointing. And they haven't been great at developing players, honestly. In the past couple of years, you got guys like Jordan Goldwire who haven't really developed. Alex O'Connell, Jack White, all those guys. I mean, even Wendell Moore this year hasn't developed great. And then Coach K, he's the oldest out of all of them. He's 74. I can't imagine he coaches for another decade. That would just be crazy to me. But I mean, who knows? If you love, he loves that program, he loves the game of basketball, he may still do it till he dies. I don't know, but I think this is signaling the beginning of the end for some of the programs.
The thing with one and done is one and done teams is obviously you want those great young players as NBA talent, but those teams usually don't win a championship at the end of the year. It's always some team with a good balance, some underclassmen that are talented, but you're led by juniors and seniors. Look at teams who have been pretty dominant the past couple of years. Virginia, they had Cal Guy. He wasn't a one and done freshman. Villanova, they're always steady. A couple years build out through the program. You just gotta experience is so important in tournament, because you run into some teams that can be very dangerous to you, even though it may not seem like it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I completely agree with the fact that we kind of got off topic there talking about what it takes to really win a chip in the NCAA. But I mean, if you do look back at the teams, they've all been experienced teams full of leaders that were upperclassmen, really. But that's really off topic from what we were talking about.
But I mean, it's not really, because we're talking about, I brought up how some of these programs have turned into, simply all freshmen. You put up 5 freshman starters out there, and they don't have the chemistry, they don't have the experience. And that's why, if that keeps happening, we're not going to be seeing Kentucky and Duke. I wouldn't say necessarily Michigan State, but Kentucky and Duke specifically, we're not going to see them at the top level of the NCAA. We're going to keep seeing these teams like Gonzaga every year and like Virginia, and
especially with Kentucky, like some programs are really emerging. Like Tennessee is now like consistently a respectable program in the SEC.
Not football, but
yeah. And Texas Tech, like that's Big 12. Sorry, I'm awesome, but Tennessee, like nowadays, like I remember like a couple years ago when back with like the Twins they had, like their only like real threat maybe is Florida, like but now there's SEC's coming a little more respectable, but they gotta be careful.
Alabama.
They want to say Alabama's playing great.
They played like us. They played like us. They shoot a lot of threes.
Exactly. So it's like you never know. Some things need to come to an end.
Mac McClung has been balling out. You brought up Texas Tech. That man's been balling out.
Yeah.
Surprising because he was so terrible at Georgetown.
Georgetown.
Yeah, that's another program.
Yeah.
What?
And
that's
Georgetown's disappointing. Yeah.
All right. So who wants to take this? Who wants to give their Final Four and wants me to critique it? Or wants us to critique it? Who wants to give their Final Four?
I mean, I can go. I can do it.
All right.
Y'all want? All right. I mean, my first team. This shouldn't come as a surprise. I got Gonzaga. I talked so highly of them. Like for the reasons I explained earlier. I mean, they got Jalen Suggs, I think he's the best freshman in the nation, and they got experienced guards: Corey Kispert, Nemhard, Ayayi. Mark Few is one of the best coaches in the NCAA. And I mean, I think this is their year. They finally break the barrier of Gonzaga's not a tournament team, like all that. Like every time Gonzaga's a 1 seed, everyone's like, oh yeah, they're definitely most likely to lose to a 16 seed. But this is the year. I'm telling you, Gonzaga. My second team, the team that I mentioned earlier, Illinois. Like I said, they're the best team out of the Big Ten, in my opinion. I think they're gonna, like I mentioned before, their backcourt is insane. Ayo Dosunmu, Tim Frazier, Adam Miller, freshman guard who hits threes, Kofi Coburn, beast in the paint, and if he stays out of foul trouble every game, or I mean, even if he gets into foul trouble and gets tired, they got a guy off the bench who's like 7 foot and can play. I can't pronounce his name. I'm not going to try that. But my third team, I'm going to take Baylor. I hate to be boring and put the top 2 teams right now in there, but like they haven't given me a reason not to. They haven't lost a game, and they have so many returners that played significant minutes for them last year, where they were ready to make a run last year too. They're probably hungry for it because their tournament got canceled last year. They were at the top. Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell, Maceo Teague, all returning. And then Michael Mayer, I don't know, the tall white guy who could shoot. He's like I don't see a problem with them, and that's why I don't see them losing because they haven't lost yet, and they're playing in one of the toughest conferences in the NCAA. But moving on to my fourth team, and look, I told Connor that I needed him to stop me, and he didn't stop me. The University of Virginia is going to the Final Four. They look built. They look built. I told him to stop me from picking. I picked them to win it all in the last 4 brackets I did. Except for, including the one where they lost in the first round, but that's besides.
Down by 10 to Florida State right now.
Yeah, listen. Florida State's good too, but they're the defending champs, guys. I think we're forgetting this. They're defending champs. They have the best defense, in my opinion. They have the best defense in the entire world of college basketball. Tony Bennett might be the best coach in the ACC, maybe in the whole NCAA. But they just won a game against a good North Carolina team, very solid North Carolina team, where they shot 39% from the field. They won that game. This is a team that can hold you to under 50, and they'll win games scoring 55 points, or they'll get hot from three because they can. Sam Hauser can, Jay Huff can, even Kihei Clark starting to hit some. And then they got talented freshman guards. They're so good at recruiting high IQ players. I think they have a whole team of them. And come tournament time, that's important. And if they get hot, they will win games by 20 points easily. That team is good, and they're the defending champs. They're not gonna go out sad in the tournament. I think they get to the Final Four. Obviously, though, this is all dependent on, like, we don't have a set bracket yet. We don't know the matchups, so this might not even be possible. But if it were to end today, I think this would be the Final Four.
I'm gonna go with obviously Gonzaga. There's enough said about Gonzaga. They're so dominant. Baylor, same thing. I have to pick the two easy ones right there. And this one might surprise you a little bit, but I'm going with Villanova, just because, in my opinion, Jay Wright is the best coach in all of college basketball. They are just so consistently good. They have the experience, play good defense. They're just, what can you say about them? They've been so dominant this decade too. Got 2 national championships already. They're so good around this time. So it's respectable. And then I guess I'm gonna go with Michigan, 4th, or like Michigan. The size, space, the floor. And then, with COVID, we haven't been able to see them much of them lately. But before that, they were playing very, very well. They're top of the Big Ten right now, so just gotta give them respect. If you win the toughest conference, I feel like you should be a favorite in the country. So it's my Final Four.
I was so close to agreeing with everything Patrick said. I was surprised actually that somebody else had Villanova in their Final Four. But
I'll say that I did have them until I watched them get whooped by Creighton the other day, and then I was like, okay, this team panics. This team panics under.
That's one thing. One thing that you can hold against Villanova is that the Big East, which is usually a very tough conference, is having a pretty off year. So, we don't know how really legit the Big East teams are this year. So hard to tell, but I think they're the real deal. I think Villanova will go far.
Yeah, I do too. But to get into my Final Four, obviously we don't really know because we don't know what the brackets are going to look like Hayden said. But obviously the 2 obvious ones for me, or for everyone in the world, Gonzaga, Baylor. Then, like I said, I also had Villanova in there, and a team that neither of you guys mentioned, we haven't mentioned all day. It's in the same city as my favorite team. Got to go with. I got to go with Houston.
He said Houston.
It's like that
What?
team.
Listen,
They're gonna get buzzer beaten again in the second round.
Backcourt.
Michigan. They're gonna get 2 seed.
They get buzzer beaten every single year.
They can't
like Tyler Hero sent them home
until they prove that they can close games out and they get that respect. But
I want to hear your reasoning.
Okay.
Though. I
was trying to, but y'all started flaming. University of Houston, man. Their backcourt's explosive. They love to shoot the 3 ball, and like I said earlier, I love that style of basketball. And seeing them light it up is like the reason why I have them there. My fear for them is defensively. I see a lot of sores, but I feel like they could be able to pick it up by the end of by tournament time, and I think that they can not get buzzer beater this year.
One thing about Houston is they played one ranked team back in November, which is Texas Tech. They beat them, but since then they have not seen any competition.
because of COVID.
But yeah, but like that's a going into the NCAA tournament without having those tough battles, the like sharpening as a team, could very well hurt them. That's probably why, you know, if they run into say Michigan or even like somehow Gonzaga, like you really think they'll be able to?
Or if they run into like a good like 6 or 7 seed, like you know,
they run into Rutgers. Say Rutgers makes
Iowa, you know,
think Rutgers did, you know,
or Rutgers
very well in a great game.
I don't know, man. I'm not changing my opinion here. I'm taking that explosive backcourt.
I mean, like we've just, it's a common theme, but like we've been saying it. There's a recipe to winning these things, and I mean the backcourt is the key, and the bench is the key.
Yeah.
And, I mean, so there's a lot of teams that have that, but I don't know about Houston. I don't know if they, like Patrick said, I don't know if they play enough people in the regular season to, you know, I don't know if they play enough good comp in the regular season to really prepare themselves.
It's hard to be playing against like Wichita State all season and then get matched up with Gonzaga or like Ohio State. It's a big.
But they're running through teams. Like they are, like in the games that they're playing, even though they're not playing competition, they are running through them like 40-point deficits.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, I think they're going to be like last year's Dayton, where they're really good all season, and we didn't get to see that happen. But I don't think Dayton was. Anyone thought Dayton would have won last year.
Have you ever heard of Our Lady? Like,
oh yeah. They played that.
It's like
random
they
team.
beat them 112-46, but like this is this is February, and you're going against Our Lady. Like it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
They lost to East Carolina February 3rd, it says. So
they did.
East Carolina's 8-6, so they're
not. Yeah, I mean, I think every team has a kind of a bad loss on their resume except for Gonzaga and Baylor, obviously. But
that's true. Yeah.
And maybe Michigan.
Does Ohio State have a bad loss? They lost to.
Did they lose to Purdue? That's a pretty bad loss.
That's not a bad loss. What are you talking about?
It's a bad loss.
Yeah, that was a bad loss.
It's a bad
Patrick, real talk. How does Purdue keep recruiting these like 7'4" guys? Like it's crazy.
They build big men very well.
I mean, have any of them gone to the NBA besides Swanigan?
No, they don't need to go to the NBA. They know they're gonna get like, because like Coach Painter is very honest. He's one of the most honest coaches in the country. He's like, just tells you what he's gonna do for you. Like, I can make you a much better player, but I can't guarantee you to go to the NBA. That's on you. Like, going to the NBA is always on you as an individual. Yeah. You can't point fingers around anybody else. It's all about how you work. But, I mean, development is definitely can be connected to the coaches. That's why Turgeon gets some heat too, because he can't develop players like Melo Trimble.
Or Wiggins. I mean, Wiggins was supposed to be insane, and then
he's playing a little better though.
Well, he's playing better now, but I mean, he's so inconsistent.
Oh, but yeah, he's very inconsistent.
Yeah, team I wanted to bring up that was insane until recently, Drake. Nobody saw that one coming.
Now it's Loyola Chicago. Loyola Chicago just beat them.
Yeah,
they went on their run.
That could be a sleeper team early in the rounds. They give some teams some problems.
Yeah,
exactly. Like they get a 7 seed and get Houston in the second round, and bye Houston. You know.
Yeah, and they got Jesus on their side. We all saw that.
Yeah, exactly. That's yeah. They have the
power of Jesus, baby.
Yep.
He's gonna start falling.
You got the power of Jesus.
Sometimes that's what it takes to win too. You know, in the tournament, anything. In the
tournament, anything's possible. Anything's possible. Thank you guys so much for listening here to today's episode. Make sure you guys like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. We'll see you guys next time on The Huddle.